Did you know that Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast? Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone, the palm of your hand, or use a computer if you want. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you. For Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with absolutely no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Start by downloading the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's ANCHOR.FM to get started.
Except somebody else. Let's see what's going on. All right, look. So while that's doing the searching thing, right? For those of y'all, what the hell? Pause and think.
What's up, sir?
What's going on?
Are you just setting a topic for tonight?
No. It's been going on for like 20 minutes. Something going on with stereo that we keep on switching. People keep getting cut off. It's like something with the internet or something. We finding me somebody else. But they still here. Alonzo, what up? So the what we was talking about, I have to keep on restarting this again, is I said the topic is, and the people feel some type of way, is I don't see an issue with minimum wage. Do you have any opinion on minimum wage?
Like, do I think should it be raised or do I care?
Either or, both.
I really don't care. I don't think it should be raised. I don't think minimum wage jobs are jobs that anyone should really be considering as like careers. Like they're for college or kids in high school. Like they don't need like a lot of money. They're just trying to get money, to get to the next level. It should be a stepping stone. It shouldn't be like a career.
See, okay, I finally came across somebody that's thinking like I think. On the grander scheme, that job is not meant for the adults. Just you and two kids, you're not supposed to be having a minimum wage job, Chief. That job is not meant for you.
I agree.
It's meant for like a 14, 15-year-old who just got their working permit.
Yep. I mean, I get it if you can't find anything and you come across that job. I mean, use it, thug it out for a while until you find something else, but you shouldn't be trying to make a career out of it.
But like now, I'm gonna play this message right after this. In the last couple of years, it's too much entrepreneurship. You could make more money than that if you DoorDash or Uber Eats or whatever the case is nowadays.
That's true. When the pandemic hit, I lost my job and I did Uber Eats and Instacart and Ubering, and I actually made some pretty good money.
That's what I'm saying. Uber. So they just said, like, what was it, last month or something, there was a guy who made like $9,000 on doing Lyft or something like that, or DoorDash or something like that, in a month. He was just doing 12-hour days. In a month.
Yep. The most I made was
so it's like, it's opportunity. Like, you don't need a 9 to 5, but that's all on a whole other subject. But 9 to 5s is damn near dying.
Yeah.
It's starting to be too much entrepreneurship competition out here.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody about having like a 9 to 5, and we were like debating about it. And I don't think having a 9 to 5 is necessarily a bad thing if it's your passion. But if it's a 9 to 5, and you're sitting there in a mail room putting in mail paper and stuff, then I mean, then it's gonna be your ball and chain. But there's definitely a lot of opportunities.
Right.
I agree with you guys. I don't see an issue with minimum wage. I mean, if they raise the minimum wage, then the rent and all that will go up. That means it's going to cost more to do anything. So why should they just, keep it, like it's right now? I mean, it's perfect right now.
Facts. You know what I mean? It's like school or anything else. You know what I mean? You're not meant to be a freshman forever. You shouldn't be a 25-year-old freshman, my guy. You never became a junior, sophomore. You never became a senior. You never went to college. Like, you have to elevate, and then the people in that next generation under you, in that next age bracket under you, takes that job. If you just a prior, eventually you're supposed to be trying to come to the front if they make a little bit more. Eventually you're supposed to be trying to become a supervisor if they make a little bit more. Then a manager. Then you're supposed to move up.
Because then if they raise it too high, like if minimum wage get raised to like 21 or like $24, then people just get complacent, and then it's just fine.
And then everything in retail is going to go up. If McDonald's raise their minimum wage to $15, you think they still gonna have Happy Meal for $4 or something? It's not gonna happen, my God. They're gonna try to offset that. It's a business.
They're gonna have.
If you telling me
meals,
yeah, something. I know y'all got it. I know what you get paid because we pay you. You know what I mean? But it's not like they're not gonna double their minimum wage across the board, and then you just expect them to take that. This is a business. We got to be realistic. I'm not gonna double. I'm not gonna double my bottom line. If I was just getting away with paying $1 million, now you having me pay $2 million, and I don't really get nothing in return because people are still doing whatever they're doing, like either just messing up and not really caring about the job or whatever the case is. Businesses, as a business person, you're not going to accept that. You're not going to accept that as a loss. Yep. You're going to offset that. I'm raising my prices, guarantee you. As a business person, I'm not saying it's cool. You know what I mean? I'm not. It just is what it is.
It's a profit game. Like, you know, it's a business, so they got to make sure the profits are coming in. So they can't sit there and pay their workers a crazy amount of money, and then if their product that they're pushing, that has to be raised too. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and then people got boards that they got to answer to. Now we talk about minimum wage, right? So minimum wage goes up, right? Boom. Mm-hmm. So now my key persons, the people that open up in the morning, close down at night, they looking like, hold on, they making more than me now. So now my key people want more money. They want to get paid double. My supervisor want to get paid double. Hold on. So you mean to tell me I'm only getting paid 16, but the people at the window getting paid 15? And I got to do all the responsibilities and account for the money and security and all this? Nah. Yep. I got to get paid at least 30. Everything is going up.
Even if I'm not even in the same company, I kind of feel like, I have a degree. I went to school for a while. I worked my way up in a company. So, yeah, I want to be paid a little more than somebody who, might just be answering phones. Like, I deserve it.
Facts. And he might work at a whole nother place that's like next door to this place. But if I hear next door that they making more money or the same money as me, and I'm over here with X amount of responsibility, it's like, oh, no, man, I'm going to quit this and go over there then. Yep. But y'all have to pay something. It don't make any sense.
Yeah, I've seen that happen, actually.
Okay, we got three in the queue.
Look, guys, it's really easy to think that way. I think the same way as well. Obviously, I don't do a minimum wage job, and I would never want to do a minimum wage job at my age. However, unfortunately, not everyone is in your shoes. Some people maybe come from a more difficult background than you, maybe have less education. They fall into a situation where they need cash, and they just take the first thing. And sometimes, because of the way systems are created and how jobs are, like sometimes it's hard to give up an income, even if it is tiny and the minimum wage. It's hard to give it up to try and like take a risk of doing something else. It's not everyone that can do it, and people fall into these habits.
Nah, but you're never going to elevate if you playing the scared card.
Yeah, so that's where I don't agree, because I do think everybody can do it. I do think everybody, after a certain amount of time, after they gain some skills, some life experience, they can, like you said, elevate and move on to the next step.
Even if it's you going to the competition, hey, I'm here, but there's no spot for me to move up here. Well, I'm gonna go try to be an assistant supervisor somewhere else in the same. Hey, you know what I mean? I got X amount of production skills. I know how to do this, that, and the other, whether it's manufacturing, production, or fabrication. If I can't elevate here and I feel like I need more money, then you got to start putting an application somewhere else. Yep. That your experience, your work experience says that you might be able to get. People are always hiring. Worst case scenario, again, as we were just talking about earlier, go into entrepreneurship. You can do your own thing until you figure it out. Yep. You can do Lyft or Uber until you figure it out.
Like, the answer is not for everything else to change. It's for you to change and, build your skill.
Yeah. again, you ain't gonna elevate if you playing scary. If you play scary, then people wouldn't even go to college. It wouldn't be about it. They'd be like, listen, man, you know what? High school was just it, and I don't, you know what I mean? I'm scared of a new experience, and I don't want to go to a university where I don't know nobody. I'm just going, you know what I mean? Just stay here.
Yep. And you know what that does?
How you gonna elevate?
That
the new experience. Yeah, it does. It does. Or some people don't even look to elevate. Now, I have no problem with this. If you love what you do, some people don't elevate in their own job. I know people that's in the same position for the past 30 years that easily could be a manager or higher up, but they don't want to. But they love the job that they do, and they feel like, I guess financially, it pays because, you know, they constantly get raises or whatever the case. Or maybe they just really love the job to where it's not a job. It's like a career for them. So they never move up. That's cool. If financially you can still take care of your situation, I guess that's for you.
Yeah.
Not for me, but that's for you. But if you just ain't making it and you barely surviving, you got to switch something. You can't tell the system to switch how the system works to accommodate you, because it's not gonna happen.
I've been
in that poor situation.
My first job out of school, I was like kind of answering phones and being like an assistant to somebody at a really big company, and I was working with people who were at these like kind of entry level main jobs for 30 years. Like some of them been there for 25 or 30 years, and they're just like, yeah, I hope I get my, you know, retirement pension, and I put my years in here and stuff like that. And all I kept thinking in my head was, no, that can't be me. Like, I'm not, I can't. Like, I'll go crazy in the same spot for 30 years.
So I'm gonna get to these comments. Well, I'm gonna play some of these comments and then the audios, and then I'm gonna give a real life experience of mine.
I don't know. I feel like the minimum wage should at least match the cost of living, because it's hard for someone who doesn't have the opportunity to go to school or the opportunity to have a higher paying job because they don't have experience, or they don't have the money, they don't have the resources. So that minimum, you know, wage job is what they can do at that time. And so how are they expected to live and to become better, to save money, if they're spending all their money for cost of living? You know what I mean?
You want to answer that thing? I think we kind of stated that already, but she might have missed it earlier.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get it. And I mean, again, like we kind of said earlier, those entry-level jobs really aren't made, or the minimum wage really isn't made for you to live off of. It's made for you to maybe get through a hard time, or maybe be like a job while you're at school or something like that. It's a stepping stone. It's not a job where you can build a significant life off of it. You know, you got to work towards that.
I'm gonna tell you, when I was 17, right, my mom, I think, was at by this time she was transitioning from like a hostess to a manager at Denny. I became a busser. She had me get in to be a busser. You know what that is? That's a dishwasher.
Yeah,
it might be called something different where y'all at. It's a dishwasher. I was making minimum wage. You know what I could do? My cost of living? I could buy all the video games I wanted to, and I did. I lived very comfortably on my minimum wage at 17 because it was meant for somebody like me. Yeah, it wasn't meant for somebody that would be like my mom. Okay, we're gonna get the next one.
Heaven is real one. Everything's been going up. Like everything, if you look at like costs of living, in the last 10 years, it's been going up. Minimum wage has stayed the same in your country. Do you seriously not have a problem with this? Like, you guys are just getting robbed. Well, obviously not all of you, but some of the most vulnerable people in your nation that might struggle to find different kinds of more lucrative work are getting robbed, and you don't care. I mean, I don't know, man. You guys as a country, man.
We're talking about SJ all the way. Shout out to you, man. Listen, who's saying we cool with anything? We didn't. We know. I don't think said that, and I know I didn't say that, right? The people that's getting paid these jobs, it's not slavery, my guy. People are accepting these jobs. People are applying to these jobs knowing what they pay. It's hard for me to feel bad when someone say, "Hey, this is what it is," and you say, "Okay, I'll take that."
And
so it's not that we're cool with it. They was cool with it. So why should I be mad? They was cool with it. Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, and just the reason why I'm not that concerned about what the minimum wage is because there is so much opportunity out here in America. So take it away. So say even if you don't have a degree, there's a lot of jobs. So I work in HR and I know there's a lot of jobs out there that are willing to take you on entry level and then you work your way up through experience. There's a myth that in America you only get ahead with having a college degree. You don't necessarily need to have a college degree if you build a skill or if you expand on to different markets like we mentioned earlier, like social media platforms, entrepreneurship. Like there's so much out there that you can do that you're not siloed to a minimum wage job. So I think that's the difference between us and other countries. There's a lot more options that you can do.
Facts. Now, me, myself, I'm currently a mail carrier, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can become a mail carrier if you want to, but mailman, I don't know what you guys call them overseas. Probably something similar to postman, whatever it is, wherever you at. Over here, only thing you need to be is have a high school diploma, or have is a high school diploma and a driver's license. You start off, I think, starting this year at $18.29 an hour. If you have that, why would you go accept a job at $7.50? And we hiring like crazy right now. It's not a plug. They don't pay me for this. We hiring like crazy right now, but people not taking that job. People not accepting that job. People don't want that job. Cool. You don't have a driver's license, maybe. You can go a step down as far as pay, it's $1 less. You can become a clerk. You become a mail material handler downtown in our distribution centers for like 17 something an hour. No driver's license, just have a high school diploma. People not accepting that job though. You're not going there to get that job. It's easy. You can go online and apply. Only thing they're going to do is a background check, and then you're going to have to drop. If you don't know what that is, that's testing your urine. Make sure you ain't got illegal substances in there. You can have that job. You don't have to have a college degree to get that job. You don't have to have the highest level of intelligence to get that job. So no, I can't feel too bad about people that's going to accept these other jobs. When there's jobs out there that's almost paying 3 times as much as that with the same criteria.
Yep.
We're choosing to have those jobs, my guy. It's not that people are making us. McDonald's ain't going out and kidnapping people in a white van with a yellow M on it and they're making them work at the site, at the stations. They're not doing that. People are coming in, applying to it, knowing what it pays. They're having interviews, going 2 or 3 interviews, and then accepting the job. And I'm supposed to be mad that they got it? Shouldn't we be happy for them then, if that's the case? They worked so hard to get it.
And
I don't know how it is in your country.
I will say another small flaw that America has is that some of us, maybe not all, but some of us are kind of lazy. So there are a lot of jobs, labor jobs, like you mentioned, like UPS, FedEx. There are different other labor jobs you can get that actually pay a lot of money that you don't need a degree at all. Like I know there's like construction jobs that pay $25 an hour to $26. It's not an easy job. It's not the most comfortable job, but it's a nice paying job. And I kind of think a lot of people just want a higher pay with minimal kind of effort and responsibility. That's really where the problem is.
He ain't lied. He was actually speaking a lot of facts right now. If I said that, my people would have got on me about it. But let's go through the audio.
Okay, let me ask you this. The minimum wage has not changed in your country in over 10 years, right? I think that's the stat. So my question to you is, do you think that's okay?
Both of us said, I'm pretty sure we both disagree, or neither one of us thinks it's cool. At least, because everything goes up, we think that should go up too. I'm not saying that it should, what it should go up to, but maybe it should go up. The issue is the people that have the job. That's all. That job is not meant for an adult. You shouldn't be trying to get that job as an adult. If you are, as an adult, I gotta hold you responsible for that job you accepted as an adult. That job is meant as an entry level position, normally for teenagers, as a first time job. So you can get something on your resume. It's a resume builder. They're not going to pay you $15, $20 an hour as a first time employee who don't even have a job and you probably haven't even graduated high school yet. That's who it's meant for. They're not going to change the pay just because an adult applies to the job. This job, right? So think of the jobs are paying the position. They're not paying the person. I'm paying the position. The position to work this window is $750. If you want to work the window, you're going to get paid that position price, which is $750. It doesn't change if you're 17 or 25 or 40. You get what I'm saying? Like that don't happen over here. I don't know how it work over there. That don't happen over here though. Let's go to the next one.
Yeah, you think like that because you're a millennial. So, yeah, we're very different from how the older generation used to think. They used to think like a job is for life, basically, whereas we don't think like that anymore.
I'm not sure. I don't know who that was directed to.
Probably both. Probably both. But again, it's minimal. And we talking about 2021 here. Like we've came so far with almost like there's so many business owners now. Like the last 10 years or so, we've probably had so many startups and new businesses, private businesses, so many entrepreneurship companies that's been started, private owned companies that's been started, that is ridiculous. Yep. So it's easy just to say, oh man, that's gonna be hard. So it's like, so you not moving up because you think it might be, if you think mental thing that it might be hard, you're not gonna even try. You're just gonna accept what you're getting paid, and then when you don't like it anymore because your household changed, albeit I just had a kid or my girl just moved in and she don't have a job. Now that your household changed, now you think I should be getting paid more for this particular job versus saying, you know what? My household changed. I'm trying to better myself. I'm trying to make sure we good. I got to start elevating. I got to find something different. You want the job to change, you're paid. You don't want to upgrade yourself. That's not cool. That's not cool. Yep. Let's keep it real. Those jobs aren't meant, or even most higher end companies. You just can't go there and just start where you want to start just because you want to start there. For sure. They make entry level positions for a reason. I don't care what your resume said. You not in manufacturing. You was in whatever it is over there. So when you come over here, you got to start back from the bottom and go back to the top. That's just how it is.
Pretty much.
But you got to accept that. Okay, boom. I was talking about my situation earlier, or I wanted to. Right? I've been a supervisor. I've been assistant supervisor twice. I've been a supervisor once and a manager once. Right? My last position, not counting my current position, I ended as a supervisor, as opening supervisor and a second shift manager. Right? I left there. Well, actually, I'll take it before that when I was an assistant supervisor. And I was told, because it was union based, that I had moved too fast up on second shift. Second shift, I was able to move up faster because there was less people there and I was willing to learn. Right? So I ended up becoming team lead. Went from team lead. I was cool with the assistant supervisor. He went down to Florida. Shout out my guy Tyrone. He went down to Florida. He told the morning shift supervisor then, because we didn't have an actual supervisor on our shift, not in production. It was over on fabricating side. Hey, no, Leonard, you know what I mean? You got to be Leonard because he know all the stations. He does the training. He runs the stuff when I'm not here. Boom. I'm assistant supervisor, right? I had a meeting a year and some change later about moving up because I wasn't getting doing my reviews. I wasn't getting my increase, at least what I thought I was supposed to be getting increase. They told me I had maxed out already at 19 something an hour. I forget what it was. It's been some years now. 19 something an hour. No, I was assistant supervisor in production. Oh, okay. Right there told me I had maxed out, and the contract didn't allow them to just give me a raise. That they would have to come up with something, and that could be a year down the line. At the same time, they was asking me to now could they bring in a second line on second shift and for me to watch them, to oversee them, pretty much be their assistant supervisor, because they didn't have a supervisor, right? So they was trying to double my workload while saying they couldn't pay me more. You know what I did? I put in my 2 weeks notice without another job on the line, and I left. I then went to another company maybe 2 months later, where I took a supervisor position and then went to a manager position on nights. I was willing to take it. I was willing to risk it because I knew I was worth more. Right? There was no way I was going to be stagnant. I have to move up in my life. I have to move up in money and as far as pay, or I got to move up as far as title.
Yep.
Once it becomes stagnant, you need to move around. If not, if you cool with accepting whatever it is, then that's on you. Mm-hmm. I can't knock it. You know what I mean? Whatever you decide for your situation, that's what you decide. I can't get mad at whatever it is you decide. Me, I can't accept it. From the sounds of Think, he sounds like if his situation became the same, he wouldn't accept it. You got to do something else. You got to do something different, and you got to be willing to go out there to get it. It ain't gonna just come to you.
I agree.
All right, let's go to the next one.
My first job right out of high school, mine was dealing cards. Now, that type of minimum wage, I would say mine was like under minimum wage. Because I was making like 5 something an hour plus tips. So maybe like 10 or 15, I don't know. But I would say I would consider that minimum wage only for the simple fact of that was only like 8, because my tips fluctuated and I had to share with like probably like 1, 2, 300 dealers throughout the entire like overall shifts. So with that being said, shit, I would consider that minimum wage, because my check went only like what, sometimes it'll be a high 7 or a...
Oh, maybe you got a second. Hold up. Just trying to get him out of here.
So this is a personal experience for me. I used to live in California. I lived in San Diego for 4 years. And I started out minimum wage, $10 an hour. And I had some savings left. I had like savings left in my whatever. Shit happened. My car transmission blew out. I had to get a brand new transmission, load all my savings, and then I started getting credit. And so I started using credit cards because I wasn't getting paid enough to pay my rent, to pay my gas. And so that started happening. And then I got a better job and I got a little more pay, but now I had credit that I had to pay for, debt. And so people get caught in these like lifestyles where they were living outside of their means just to live, because the cost of, or not the cost, but the minimum wage wasn't enough to pay their bills. And I was in that situation. And then I got to a job that was paying me more than minimum wage. And then I started getting a little more money, but my credit was still there. So I had to pay back all this credit, all my money extra money I was getting. I was still paying back the credit and then using the credit that I just paid off to use again because cost of living. And I was stressed every day of my life living in San Diego, in not even a good area, living with a roommate. Like, rent's expensive. Everything is expensive. And about a year ago, I moved to Ohio. I now have my own place.
Oh, so if you keep going?
Yeah.
Most college degrees are fucking useless. People are going to college for fucking liberal feminist arts degrees, gender studies. Of course you ain't gonna get fucking paid with those.
Hold on, let me shut them. Shout out SG all the way still. Who else is on here now? Oh, there we go. Shout out Matthew. Shout out, well, Q. What's going on with your name, man? You got to change that. I'm not sure what that even says. Rain? What is this? Rain? OQ? What is that? Ragnarok? Supposed to be Ragnarok? We're gonna try to get to y'all messages and then we're gonna come back to y'all. Hold up.
The Last Styles. You know what? Listen, you guys, it's not like I actually get where you're coming from, but I still feel like there's an issue with the way you guys do things, kind of. And I just checked it. You can check this on your side as well. But apparently, this issue, $15 minimum wage, polls quite well in your country, apparently. Apparently, 2/3, 67% of people are in favor of it. So it seems pretty popular to me, despite what you guys are saying.
I mean, it's going to be pretty popular because you don't really know the country, but majority of us are probably in the poor class.
Yeah.
So
I was just thinking
a lot of people, yeah. So you kind of group a bigger. All right, this is it's a domino. It's going to be a domino effect, right? So you have the people that's making minimum wage or less. Well, the various minimum wages from like whatever hostess and waitresses get paid now to whatever the $7.50, I believe, $7.25, $7.50. I want to say $7.50, I believe now, which is actually supposed to be the standard. Outside of those specific jobs, for people who get commission, their minimum wage is lower, right? Yeah. So you're going to have them on board for sure. I don't know too many people that's in that position that's going to not be on board. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. We're a big fast food industry. We're big, you know what I mean? All of those jobs are minimum wage. Of course, they're going to be on board. Not saying they shouldn't, right? If I was in that position, I most likely would be on board with doubling my pay, right? But with that, right, this is where you get the rest of these 2/3. You're going to get people who only get paid $8, which is more than minimum wage. Not that much more, but it's more. The people that's getting paid $9, $10, $11, of course, they're on board with the increase of minimum wage to the $15. People that's getting paid the $12, $13, $14, $15. They're all on board. This is where you're getting that number from 2/3. They're all on board. You know why? Because everybody feel like at the $15, especially at the $15 and under, between the minimum wage and $15, feel like, hey, if that $7.50 go up, my shit better go up. Everybody that's higher than $7.50 to $15 are banking on the minimum wage going up because now you have to raise our money too. I can't get paid as much as them. My job don't say I'm minimum wage. My job say I'm supposed to be like $8 over minimum wage. So if they raise minimum wage to 15, then I got to be at 23. Now everybody else say, man, if they should go up to 23, then I got to be at 30. Right? We talking about what's realistic. There are all these jobs who does this increase are going to increase their prices on everything else. You know what that does? It balances the shit right back out.
Yeah, I don't think people are
right back out with the cost of living going up.
Of the effects.
Yeah, it's just gonna even back out. Like now you're thinking like, okay, now I'm making $70,000 a year, but guess what? They just double rent now. So how about that? They just doubled the cost of energy. They just doubled the cost of
It's already like that in New York. It's like for me as a single guy by myself, I make a pretty okay amount of money. I would be struggling in New York right now. And I feel like if the minimum wage goes up, every city is going to be like New York when all the prices go up. So you're just going to keep climbing. Like, I don't think people are seeing kind of the cons of it. I think we only see the pros because it looks good, but nobody's kind of like critically thinking about the cons.
Yeah, so the big pro is people looking at it as more money. But what you don't look at is which is a pro. What you don't look at, that $7.50 is an anchor, right? Because the state regulates that you can't raise prices past this much because there's people getting paid this much. You know what I'm saying? The state regulates that. Says, hey, we can't be raising rent to $800, $900 in the Midwest to a 1-bedroom so it matches California or New York. The reason California and New York prices are like that because what they make is higher. It just balances back out. That $7.50 keeps our rent at maybe $650, $700, $800, depending on how many bedrooms, how many square footage you have for your place. It says you can't go above that because we have people down here who can't afford the cost of living if you do that. But once you raise that, then the state has to change that to say, okay, well, now y'all can increase that because we got people making more money. But nobody's paying attention to that. So I'm not saying you should or shouldn't raise it. I really don't care neither way. You know what I mean? My issue was just I don't see an issue with minimum wage as it is existing in 2021? If it's something that nobody used, then what would we care if it existed?
Same.
Right? If you really wanted to raise it, you could just be like, across the board, as a people, we're going to get together, and nobody applies to jobs that pay that amount of money. Nobody applies to jobs that pay that amount of money. You know what they would do? They would raise it on their own because they're trying to get people to fill these jobs, or I have to close my business.
Yep. And it's already kind of doing that with people taking more avenues and like social media or, you know, OnlyFans and stuff like that.
No, and then let's be real. Back in my day, a parent could have 2-3 jobs. We don't want to do that though, because we're not willing to give up our whole day. It's a shitty job. I have to do something to supplement my income. People, that was a regular thing to supplement your income. People still only want the 8 hours a day though. For the most part here, they only want to give up a certain amount of time, and they really don't want to do X amount of work. So then you accept this. People don't want 2 or 3 jobs nowadays. Not saying that you should have to have 2 or 3 jobs. You know what I mean? It's the hustler that's in you.
Yeah.
But back in the day, to feed my kids, to pay my bills, parents was doing that. Nowadays, you just sit and complain versus going to get a second job. You just complain about the first job. I don't get that. You got to go get that money. I don't care what you got to do.
And I will
not
say,
saying do shit illegal.
Yeah, going back to one of the other comments that a few comments ago, one of the ladies said when she was living in San Diego, and she had to take out credits to kind of supplement her income. And
shout out Miss Peasy.
Yeah, I definitely understand where she's coming from, and I think a lot of people do that. And it's definitely a young mistake because you eventually have to pay that back, and that kind of plummets your like credit score. So one of the best things probably would have been was for after she used her savings to get a car fix, to then just get a second job and then kind of make that money to supplement instead of going into debt and using the credit card. But I definitely understand where she's coming from. People do get that cycle of not having money, using credit cards or something, and going into debt, and then, you know, so you just got to be kind of, you know, conscious of how you're using your money.
And shout out Miss Peasy too, because towards the end of the story, I think she has another one in, but towards the end of the story, it sounds like she's doing way better for herself.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? She found her way out of that situation, and she don't have to deal with that anymore.
Yeah, Ohio's a lot cheaper to live in too. So Ohio's.
She was in California. If you didn't know, SJ all the way. California is expensive living, my guy. It's as bad, if not as worse as New York, bro.
I lived in LA for 2 years. I went to school out there, and I had a part-time job, and it was, of course, minimum wage, and that shit was a struggle. I could not wait to finish my degree or find another job. Like, so I know California's really expensive.
Nah, man, you gotta be in like a 1 bedroom, sharing the living room. You gotta have like 2 other roommates besides yourself.
Yeah,
you know, it's expensive, bro. It'd be like I done seen like a $1,900 apartment, and it wasn't that good of an apartment. It was like a standard, bro, out there before.
Yep, there's studio.
I was like, dog, what the hell? Hey, man, because they make X amount of money. You know what I mean? We don't get really paid what y'all get paid in the Midwest because the minimum wage is higher over here and this, that, and I'm like, huh? But I'm like, bro, but you ain't making no money.
Well, yeah.
So they think it's like they got a roommate like a motherfucker. Like they got roommates and they all work to try to make it.
It's even getting a little higher here in so I'm from Philly. I live in Philly now, and it's even a little higher. Not as bad as New York, but I got a good deal on so it's only me. So I have like a kind of studio loft apartment. So it's around $1,200, and I had to kind of argue him down the rent. He was able to negotiate, but they're actually going for about $1,600 or $1,800 for just a studio, or not even a huge square foot space. So even me that's making a good amount of money, I still had to kind of budget and watch how my spending was. So society isn't really set up for you to kind of prosper on minimum wage.
Right. Let's go through the chats, get them out of there. Oh.
I work for a company that I'm getting paid less than what I was working in California, but the cost of living here is lower, so it's more livable. I still got credit I'm still paying for, but I'm not, living above my means anymore. The company I work for, I am moving up in the company, so I'm going to be paying more, and that's definitely going to happen for me. But not a lot of people have that kind of story or storyline. Some people just don't have the resources. I have a brother that lives in Ohio I was able to stay with for 9 months, save a little money, and get my own place. Like, it's just, I was fortunate enough, you know what I mean? Not everyone has every opportunity.
Yep, I get what you're saying.
Yep.
See what Miss PZ said. Her experience is a really good example of what the problem is. Like, a lot of Americans can't afford. They can't afford the cost of an emergency, a medical emergency, or household emergency, the car blowing out, or a plumbing issue. They're screwed as soon as something unexpected happens. Home insurance claim or something, or premium. Like, so much unluckiness can happen, which can cause issues.
Yeah, I think that's more of a money management kind of problem. I mean, you can have that problem even if you're making $90K.
Facts. You can. Like, there's rich people who go broke.
Oh, for sure.
They used to have a TV show about it called like Where Are They Now or something. They used to have them. People who won
the lottery?
Yeah, lotteries had won 50 million, 100 million, 200 million, went broke. Yep. Not even in their lifetime. Went broke in like 15, 20 years. Like, they didn't even take their whole lifetime.
Money, but you still don't know what it's like to grow or keep money. I think that's why a lot of people who win the lottery go broke. It's because they don't know how to manage money or make it grow.
If you didn't hear SJ all the way, something that she also mentioned, I heard her say, was people living outside their means. That's a big thing here in America. It could be everywhere, but I don't know everywhere like that. I've been overseas a few times, but not in that sense of me living there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
People living outside their means can hurt you a lot. You don't need the most expensive Jordans, all the luxuries, and this, that, and the other, and you know that you got to pay your rent, your next paycheck.
That's what caused the 08 recession. People living outside their means. That's what caused the 08. That's what caused the 08 recession. People buying houses they couldn't afford.
Facts. That's a big thing here. So here, you know what I mean? This is mainly to SJ all the way because he's not here. He's overseas. It's not it says 2021 here. I'm not talking about the history of America. I'm talking about right now, right here. The problem is not making money in America. You can make money. You just got to be able to hustle. You got to have a determination and a motivation that's in you. Can't nobody give you that.
Yep.
You got Google, you got the internet, you got smartphones. You can look up anything. You can apply to jobs in the palm of your hand on your work break at your current job. You can do a lot right now. You can quit your job and work for yourself right now. If you got a vehicle, you can work for yourself right now and probably make more than what you're making if you have a minimum wage job or anything between minimum wage and $10 an hour. For sure. Yep. So it's the problem is not that, oh man, they can't afford so and so. I'm not saying that they can't, but again, we're putting ourselves in these situations. Not saying everybody. You do have the eyeball out, you know what I mean? That just fell victim to circumstance.
Yeah, who couldn't catch a break. I know there are situations like that.
Facts. You know what I mean? So we're not saying that's everybody, but a lot of people doing shit that they ain't supposed to. I know people that through the year probably don't make that much money, but then I'll turn around and see them get paid like $8,000 in taxes because they filing whatever. And guess what they did with their money? You think they bought a foreclosed home or something? You think they went ahead and paid their car note off, or paid it for the next 6 months, or paid their rent for the next 6 months, or the next 8 months, or whatever the case it was? That wasn't the case. I seen them in a clothing store buying plenty of shoes, buying plenty of clothes, doing a whole lot of other shit, buying game systems, buying this, that, and the other that wasn't needed. That wasn't needed, right? If you were struggling through the year, you would have banked that $8,000 and used it when you needed, or paid your biggest. In my head, paid your biggest bill off for the next year, so you didn't have to worry about that. You could have paid your rent for the next year with that $8,000 if you paying like $600 or something, $700.
Another thing I just thought about, America, as great as we are, we do need to work on an education system, and I kind of think our education system fails a lot of our younger people who drop out of high school or just don't have the tools or means to go to college, so they only take this minimum wage job. So I do understand there are people in those situations who just don't have the knowledge and they don't have the family, influence or history to go out there and make that money. But I'm hoping that, like you said, in 2021 with Google and everything like that, we can all kind of research ways to make money and be successful.
And also, what we take for granted and we don't really think about as much is your circle, right? Is key to your life. You can be motivated and determined and push yourself based on the people that you have in your circle.
Yep.
I would tell my guy, bro, this ain't working for you. You need to do so and so, or I know somebody. Let me call him. Or bro, you know what I mean? He knows somebody. He gonna call somebody. We gonna pull you over here to where we at. If you see them doing bad, if you got people that's doing bad, if you can't help them or they can't help you, you in the wrong circle.
Yep.
You in the wrong circle. I'm sorry. They might be your friend or your associate or whatever the case is, but it's almost like the crabs in the barrel mentality. Millionaires don't hang around with anything less than millionaires. It just don't happen. People with money, people trying to get money, hang around other people with money or other people trying to get money. That's just a way of life. And until you get to a certain age or go through certain things, you won't experience that to know that. But America ain't a place to hold your hand. Once you graduate, you on your own, son.
Yeah, that's for sure.
You got your family and your friends. That's it. Ain't no key to life. Ain't no manual to how to live life because it's so different. Living life is relative to each individual. There's people that to the moon. That's my goal. It's other people that's just to get a girlfriend. That's my goal. I just want a baby. I don't even want a wife. I just want a baby. That's their goal. They can get a dead end job that to them they're willing to survive. That's once they reach that, they satisfied with that. There's people that's satisfied with just getting by. I can't tell him no different. If he feel like he made it, he made it. His circle's supposed to be telling him different than that though. Hey bro, this ain't for you. The people you working these minimum wage jobs, what are people in your circle that's not working these jobs? Say, hey man, I'm gonna try to get you in here with me. You ain't gotta be over there. You got a baby on the way. Come over here.
Yep.
Y'all all working those jobs? It stands to reason why you don't elevate it. But I know people that go to a bogus school just because their friends go to that same school.
Yeah, I did that.
See what I'm saying? They'll go to a job just because, hey man, you can come get in this job, and then they won't leave because they friends there. It's a comfort thing. Not saying this is everybody. I'm just throwing out facts. Everybody's in a position for different reasons. Okay, you just get these guys up out of here.
Yep.
Damn, Vice Reese, you angry?
Hey man, that's my cousin. He always angry. He like the Hulk a little bit. He's always angry, bro.
Hey man, I'm gonna need you to stop coming out my name first of all.
Oh, Ragnarok, you changed your name to Q-Dog. Okay, you know what I mean? That's better.
Your argument about things kind of balancing up and prices going up again. Minimum wage has been the same for years and years and years, but prices and the cost of living has been going up anyway. So it's like, come on, like, how does that make sense, man? Like, it's not right. Let's get this situation fixed.
Yeah, prices are going up not because the minimum wage is where it's at. It's because people are making more money. Y'all keep looking at the bottom, but you're not looking at the ceiling. I just said for the last 5 to 10 years, we probably had the most millionaires in entrepreneurship there has been in the history of America. It stands to reason prices would go up because we're making more money. Y'all just looking at the bottom. You're not looking at the top.
Yeah, and it's not going up everywhere.
No,
cost of
and
living
again,
is going up everywhere.
it's not for you. If you have a one of these lower paying jobs, you don't need a 3-bedroom. You might feel like you want a 3-bedroom, but you know you can't afford $1,000 a month.
Yeah,
So why would you try to get a 3-bedroom?
I want a Tesla, but that's really not in my budget.
You know what I mean? If he was to get one, his note mixed with his insurance would probably be unaffordable. Can he blame that on his job that he can't now afford his Tesla? But the way he will probably say it will make you feel bad for him. Like, oh man, I can't even afford to pay my car note. Well, maybe you shouldn't have got a car. You could have bought one. You could have bought a cheaper car off the street or something for $2,000, but you didn't want to do that.
Yep, or even $10,000.
That's the part where we was talking about living outside our means.
Yep, a nice little $10,000 Honda will last you for a while. Hondas are great cars. They last you for a minute. They're not flashy, but they last you good.
Facts. You can get back and forth all day, bro. No matter the weather.
Yep.
Like you good, and they're easy to maintain, easy to fix.
I love Hondas.
Man, all this second job stuff, like, I get it. You know, we got to grind in this life, but man, you guys gonna be grinding yourselves into an early grave, man.
No,
Nah, that's
temporary
that's
thing.
false.
It's not for a lifetime.
Yeah, I'm decent right now, bruh. I went through a lot. I came up poor. You know what I mean? I'm decent by the age of 37. Trust me, I'm good. So if I could do it, I could do it in a single parent household. That is, my dad was in the military. You know what I mean? Probably seen him 5 times in my lifetime. When we moved up from Mississippi to Wisconsin. Mississippi, if you don't know, super racist state. Super racist.
Still
And I
bad
talk
now?
about, yes, it is. Because there's no opportunities. Same problem is, that's the reason why my mom even came up here in the first place. There's no opportunities down there. You know what my mom did? Instead of being, hey man, this ain't working, Valerie Skippy, I'm just gonna accept it, but just complained about it. My mom moved when she was young, didn't know nothing from nothing. She was 25, didn't know nothing from nothing. She moved from Mississippi on her own. That's what about 95% of my family's from, Mississippi. She moved from there, moved to Wisconsin, from the bottom of our nation to the top of our nation to try to get on her feet, because that wasn't for her.
Yep.
I wasn't gonna be able to feed my kids on what I'm doing down there. You gotta risk it sometimes.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it, but my mom is a great example too. She doesn't have a degree. She has some life struggles too, but she got her life together. She was working at a minimum wage job at some cable company for a while going to school for real estate classes. Then after she got a real estate license, she started building her real estate business, and then she was good. She was balling. Like, I mean, you just got to make that commitment that you want to, do something better. There's a lot of, I keep saying, there's a lot of opportunities in America, and if my mom can do it, anybody can.
Yeah, look, that's Jay all the way. There's a reason why so many people come here. There's a reason. You can get it. That's why they come here. Now, if you just choose to not access your opportunities all the way, that's on each individual, bro. That's on each individual. That's not on the system. Not saying that the system is perfect. Neither one of us is saying that the system works or the system is for us or any of that.
Yep.
What we saying is you can be almost anything that you want to be if you really set your mind to doing it. We just not really capitalizing on doing it. That's on us as the people. That's not on the system. That's on the people.
Yeah, and I think the one thing as well is with the younger and me when I was younger, I didn't have a household that was growing up that was money conscious. My parents, my dad being from South America and my mom just coming up from a lower income family, they made good money and they spent every money they could. And so for as long as I knew, I was like, yeah, we're not poor, we're not rich, we're just well off. Little did I know that my parents were way high on credit for years, lost their house, and that's where I learned my habits from, like I'm starting to reverse it, but the shit fucked me up.
No, I 100% understand what she means, because my family, we don't have a history of managing money well at all, and I had to unlearn a lot of bad habits.
Yep.
Oh, come on, bro. Like, you can't blame. Nah, come on. Let's not go there, man. You can't blame that on the people that were buying the houses. These people are trying to live the American dream and were being swindled by bankers and people selling them subprime mortgages. Come on, let's not go there, bro.
Oh, I don't know if that was to me or to you. I didn't say anything about buying the house.
I think that was to me in my reference to the 2008 recession. But I mean, I do know a little bit about it. And I do know a little bit about it. I do know some people were swindled, but I do know that there were multiple people, or a lot of people who were living above their means. There were people who had multiple houses trying to be a landlord, and they didn't have the capital who should have been even able to get those houses. So, I mean, again, it does go back to living above your means.
Yes, that's almost like the definition, living above your means. We're getting things and buying things that we can't afford based on our income level. A lot of people in America spend more money than they make. That's certified debt. That's, you know what I mean? Like, by the time you get your next check, you have to pay this person back, pay that. And then now you at the point where, okay, what I got left for my bills.
Yeah.
You already
those people weren't swindled. It was just easier for them to get those loans than it would be now. But it was still up to that individual it still would have been up to that individual to say, okay, I got approved for these such and such loans, but can I realistically pay this back? And the problem was they couldn't. And some of them actually knew that, but they were banking on maybe they'll make some money off of it by buying these homes, and it just didn't work.
Or you get the shiny object syndrome. Coming from where I'm coming from, I can buy this nice ass house for my family. Do I feel like deserve it? And I'm not really thinking about, can I really pay it off in the long run? It's like, I'll get there when I get there. You know what I mean? Like, we'll take care of that. We'll come to that crossroad when we come to it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But that's been how it is. Finishing up my situation, my mom came up here and she worked at, I think it was called Big Boys. I think it's called like Rallies or Checkers now. Then she worked at Rallies along with that and Denny's at the same time. That's 3 fast food places at the same time to take care of my older sister, my older brother, myself. Going into that, she had my younger brother, right? 4 of us. She's still a single parent, right? Because my younger brother's dad is doing whatever knows who, you know what I mean? That's a whole nother story in the streets. And so it's 4 of us, right? Eventually, my older brother, older sister moved back down south to Mississippi when they become of age and they wanted to go back home. They did that. So it's me and my brother, right? In high school, I'm testing out early. I'm getting half a days. When I was in 11th grade, I took a part-time job at Denny's where my mom was as a busser. This is me starting out. It's my first job. I got my working permit and everything. Boom. I'm working at Denny's until I graduate. Then I started working at Playmakers. That's an urban clothing and shoe store. Wasn't too much better. You know what I mean? It was just different, right? As far as the pay goes, but I was able to get commission along with minimum wage. I left there so that was like from 2001 to maybe 2004 or 5. I left there. I did security for a year and a half because I was able to make $3.50 more. So I think I was at like, as far as hourly go, I lost the commission, but I'm at like $9.50 an hour or something like that. Right? I did that for a year and a half until I went to the military. Stayed in the military for 10 years, along with doing personal care work at the same time. Get out of the military, and I went to, what did I go to first? I think the first place I went was Perlick. Perlick is where I became a team lead, production. Started at the bottom again because it's a field that I know nothing about. Started at the bottom again as a general laborer. That's like a temporary job, but it's not temporary, right? You kind of just got to stay there long enough to become a general laborer, and then you own with the company. That's through a temp service. Here we do have temp services. I don't know if you have that there. They help you find a job. When I first came home, I had to go through a temp service to get this job, right? They'll line you up. Once after my probationary period, they hired me directly. Cool, I'm there. From there, it's my work ethic. I became a team lead. In 3.5 years, I became a team lead up into the assistant supervisor, and I couldn't get the supervisor position because that's a more of a company position. I left there because I couldn't get that once they told me I had a cap and I was in this contract with the union. So I quit. I went from there, took a pay cut from 19 something an hour, took a pay cut as assistant supervisor, 19 something an hour, to go over to Paul Davis to take a supervisor position at $17 an hour. I took a pay cut because I moved up in a title. That supervisor title that I got there, because I got my money back in the long run, took me from a supervisor to a manager position at that job. I took another pay cut when I left there and came to the post office to make $17 an hour because I want to stack my federal time. It's all about the moves you make.
And just a side note, what is the benefit of being in a union? Like, that's just an actual genuine question. I don't really know much about unions.
Unions are pretty much guarantee your minimum pay. So like coming in the door, you come with the union. If you're in the union, this job dictates, because it's the union, that you have to start off at $17.29 an hour. Right? Boom. So you got $17.29 an hour guaranteed. You have pay raises. It's guaranteed. They can't turn you down in the pay raise. That's guaranteed once or twice a year, depending on the type of union or job that you're at. Normally, it's a cent, or it could be a % raise. It's guaranteed. A lot of jobs without a union say, "Oh man, it went in the budget." You know what I mean? So and so, you just don't get the raise. You guaranteed to get your raise every year that you're in this position. They also guarantee that you're going to get X amount of training. You're going to get the opportunity to move up through the union. Right? All that's union dictated. If you want to try to go from this job to this job, the union dictates that with your seniority, and you got 3 years in over these other people, and you got more training, that you should be able to apply to that job and get it. And we're going to make sure you get it, as long as it's under the company job. So anything that's like think of like any other job where you got like the workers, and then you got the management level, which is like your supervisors and up. Anything that's in the workers, whatever you want to do, we can guarantee that you get it as long as you got the proper training and seniority, right? With that, we got our own negotiations with the company. So what we do as the workers is negotiated with the union in the contract pre. It says, starting off, if they're in the union, they get paid a minimum of this, they get paid the maximum of this. In the post office, you get paid a minimum of $17.29 when I came in. And right now, I don't know what the maximum is, but there's people that make $40-some an hour, still doing the same exact job that they was getting paid $17 an hour to do. But because we got guaranteed raises, you can't stop paying them, no matter what.
Okay.
Right? Along with, you get representation. Right? If they try to fire you, they can't fire you, because we dictate in the contract that if something happens, they got to talk to us about it. As soon as something happens, you come talk to us. We're going to go to bat for you like lawyers. We're going to get what should have been a resignation or a termination turned into maybe an in-house suspension or something, so you get to keep your job. They can't just you can't just lay them off or furlough them if they in the union. You can't just fire anybody if they in the union.
Okay.
Hold on, let's get these people out the queue.
I mean, it's very real. The broke first world broke, and like third world broke, because first world broke is you have an iPhone, you have a roof over your head, you have a car, but you don't have money to do anything else. Like, that's broke, because but you still have like all this shit. Third world broke is you don't have a phone, you don't have internet, you don't have electricity. Like, that's broke. And like first world problems, that's literally our broke. You know what I mean?
Yep. I know exactly what she means.
I have to agree with them on that, because I wasn't aware that you can actually do trade schools and stuff, such as over here there's electrical apprenticeship that you can get paid, I believe, starting at like around $17.30 an hour. And then after you get obviously experience in that craft as an electrician, you go on to make fucking $30 plus an hour. So I wish I would have known that back in high school. I didn't know about any type of trade skill jobs. Elevator technicians, they make bank. Electricians, carpenters, roofers, they all make bank. And then they all go on to eventually start their own business, hire their own people, and they're pretty much all set for the rest of their lives.
Yep. I will say in the UK, they do have... I worked at a company that was based in England, and they were trying to make basically how it was here in America. So they're really big on apprenticeships and having skill-specific training in lieu of not going to a major university. And they're trying to do that more in America, which I think would actually be a lot smarter and a lot better for a lot of people, because not everybody is meant to go to college. And that doesn't mean they're not smart enough, but not necessarily everybody, thinks
Now, what
that
you
way.
might want to be in life might not even need a college degree. I get it.
And you know what? It really doesn't. Like HR, human resource, I don't need a degree for this job. Like, you just have to be able to read and, think critically. And if you don't have that by high school, then, college ain't really gonna help.
Nah, you might come out with something, but you gonna pay a grip for it though.
Yeah,
But
way too much.
yeah, we got a lot of, if you don't want to get a college degree and it's really not needed. This is kind of like part of what we said earlier with the entrepreneurship. You might not really need college to get a good job. I didn't go to college. I'm in college now, and it's not for anything that I'm working for. I'm in college now, but I didn't get a college degree to do everything that I did. It wasn't necessary. You could get certification.
Yep.
If you don't want a college degree, get a technical job. Plumbers make money. Electricians make money. Carpenters make
They
money.
do. Yep.
20s, 30s an hour. Go. Get your CDL. If you want to drive, you get CDL. Get your CDLs. You can get a job with 20s, 30s, 40s an hour. How about going to a construction site? You do something very technical. But if you want to learn how to build shit or knock down shit, you can operate. If you're a bulldozer operator, there's things I learned in the military. Bulldozer operators make $80 an hour. Crane operators make $120 an hour.
Really?
Mind you, these are not jobs that you need a college degree to get. There's no college that teaches you that, how to operate that. That's all technical. That's a technical job. You get certification.
I'm about to go on Indeed right now. 120
Bro, listen.
an hour. Fuck this HR
Crane operator
job.
makes $120 an hour, and the only thing they do is they sit in the crane, they wait for a truck to pull up. Maybe I'm supposed to be loading lumber or whatever the case. I move the crane over. I've seen a friend of mine load 3 trucks in a whole day. He got paid $120 an hour regardless of how many trucks he loaded.
I'm
He
currently
loaded 3 trucks.
Googling
One
how
showed
to
up, he
become
loaded,
a
he
crane
pulled off.
driver.
He waited. Another one pulled up. He loaded that, drove off. All these jobs we learned in the military. I would do it, but I did it too much in the military. I don't like. Of course, we didn't get paid that in the military, but I don't like construction really like that, so I didn't go into that. But a lot of people that's into that, they start their own company. That's in the military for that. That was in my unit. They own their own construction company because they can run any piece of equipment that's on site. They can make bank like crazy. Granted, you should have skills if you expect to get this type of money, but this is the average of how much money that they can make in these positions that you don't need a degree for.
I kind of feel like the higher ups who want to keep minimum wage as low as possible for as long as possible, I kind of feel like they're the same people who want to make sure that the masses are not that well educated. Like, come on, let's call a spade, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting conspiracy theory.
I mean, but again, you shouldn't necessarily be that well educated if you go into one of those jobs. They're not meant for adults again, though. It's an entry level thing. You know what I mean? The most basics just to get something on your resume. Almost most retail jobs, that's gonna be the case. It don't matter. It ain't just McDonald's or Burger King as far as food places. You go to clothing stores, any retail place. They don't pay that they don't pay that amount of shit. They don't pay that type of money. The food we serve is cheap, is that cheap that we don't have to pay y'all. Not saying that they should. You know what I mean? Like, look at what we selling. Look at what we selling, bro. Look at what we selling. If you go to a place that sells things that cost thousands of dollars, I bet you they get paid way more than minimum wage.
Yep.
If you go to a place where the price of the shit is extremely cheap, listen. I'm not paying my workers more than what X amount of clothes is worth. It wouldn't make sense for me to do. and I got 3 shifts or 2 shifts, and I got 10 people, that's 20 people that I got to pay X amount of money. And let's just say people don't even come into my store that day. Let's just say I only sell $500 worth of clothes that day, just because it's the pandemic and whatever the case is, so on so. But that didn't change the fact that I had 20 people work today, and they all supposed to get paid $15 an hour.
Yep.
I'm losing money like crazy. Not saying that they can't afford it. At least the big companies. Not saying that they can't afford it, but it has to make sense when you in that position to do. And what makes sense to you is what makes sense to you. It don't mean that I'm gonna do it just because you did it. Hey, I don't like to lose money. I like to make money, so I'm not doing it. All right, well, I mean, I can't do nothing but respect it.
I will say, listening to you guys talk about this, I came in very confused with like, what do you mean you don't see an issue with it? But actually listening to you guys, I understand it, because talking about increasing anything increases everything. You know what I mean? So I get it with the... Oh, sorry, my dog snores. I get it with, increasing wages doesn't mean that the cost of living won't also increase. Most likely will increase. So it's kind of just like, I think the world needs a budget overload, like a budget reset, because nobody knows how to budget. Like, they need to teach that in school instead of teaching us about like shapes. Like, teach us how to keep a budget, keep us how to do our taxes. Like, that's what needs to be taught. You know what I mean?
I've been saying that for years, that I wish they had like a actual in-depth money management course in high school. Like, that would help. Shout out
Camilla. Shout out Aries the Great. AJ89. I don't know how to pronounce your name, Pookie, but at least the beginning of it. I don't know what you got going on over there, bruh. But yeah, it increased everything. So that's why I'm not saying it's cool or cool. That wasn't the topic. I think I don't have a problem with it existing, is all I'm saying. It helps. As much as it hurts, it also helps. It's there for a reason. And we're not using it for that reason. They should teach something in financing, at least in high school. Something about finance. It was crazy. When I first went to high school, I went to Hamilton High here. They had a finance, was that Hamilton here? I think it was Hamilton. They had a finance class that I don't think they got anymore. I'm not sure, so don't quote me on that. They had a finance class. It's like business. And what you had to do is you had to pick a company and say they're going to give you this amount of capital, and you had to pick a company like a franchise, and then you had to do projections on how much money you can make, how many you need on your staff, how much you're going to pay them. They had that in high school. I think they ended up taking that out, but they also had a lot of shit in high school back in the day. Shit, trades used to be in high schools back in somebody's day. They used to teach you electrical jobs in high school. Yeah, they had that. They took that out. At least I know in the Midwest now, they took that out a long time ago. By long, I mean probably like before I was born type of deal. Now that would be nice to have in high school, you know what I mean? But again, if you're looking for that, if you're listening to this, if you're looking for that, you don't have to go to college to get that. You're not going to find that. Go to a technical college. Go get you a trade. Get certified. You can do that instead. It's a lot cheaper. You know what I mean? You might not need college for what you want to do. I know people to go to college for business, to run somebody else's business. It's pretty much what they teach you, to run somebody else's business, and then started their own business and dropped out of college. Like, man, I wasted all this goddamn money, and I didn't even need a business degree to start my own business, which you don't. Nope. Good though that he went, because he had some type of knowledge of running a business now, but it wasn't needed. It wasn't needed. And he owed like 2 years. But hey, if he came out with some knowledge that helped him with his own business, then hey, I can't say it's a bad thing.
If you only working 40 hours a week, you don't have no room to complain about shit. Get your bum ass up, get a second job, or do some fucking overtime, and stop whining and depending on white daddy government to fucking take care of you. You're welcome.
He sound like my uncle.
Tell him, Reese. Reese got to piss him off, man. I know he at work. He driving. He drive trucks. He just got a CDL.
Okay.
He make pretty good motherfucking money.
Yeah, that
He
actually
make pretty good money.
pretty good money.
You know what I mean? Again, listen. And all these jobs is not something that you might love. You know what I mean? You gotta find you something. Like we don't sacrifice like we used to. And then we gotta get better at that. You know what I mean? Everything is a stepping stone. Your first job is a job. It's not a career for a reason. They don't call it a career for a reason. You might not like it, but guess what? It's not meant to be long term, and they paying you so you can pay your bills currently. So you smile, you shut the fuck up, and you do your job until you find something better.
You think it's been bad? I think the generation that's like right under me, like the Gen Z or whatever, they're big into like social media. So I literally like my nephews are like 14, 13, and 11. And one of my nephews, I'm like, oh, what do you want to do when you get older? He's like, I want to be a YouTuber or a social media influencer. And I was just like, what does that mean? So like, what does that mean? What are you gonna do? And he was like, I'm gonna make videos and just make a lot of money. And that can happen for some people, but that's not really realistic. So I think we got a generation coming up that's really not going to understand what it's like to work hard, or really understand what it's going to take to make money.
Which is why you got to focus on it. Right now, my son is 11. Since he was 6, maybe 5 or 6, he's been saying he wants to go to the military. To this day, that's still what he wants to do. Me as his dad, I don't think he's going to go. Doesn't bother me whatsoever. He only wants to go, I feel like, because I went. Right? Boom. Yeah. And his granddad was in. Okay, boom. Doesn't change the fact that when he graduates high school, he has 2 choices on the table. He's going to the military, not because I really enjoyed the military, but because of the benefits and things that you can get from the military, which I tell him about at that time. Or he's going to college. I don't even feel like he has to graduate college. I feel like you're either with both of those, you're going to get an experience of adulthood and being on your own and responsibility that you need to survive out here. What he's not going to do is finish high school though, and then just straight get a job. That's not on the table for me or him. That's not going to happen. I did that, again, as in Jay-Z would say, I did that so you wouldn't have to do that. That's not the choice. We as parents got to focus our kids and put them into something. Back in the day, they used to make you go to the military. Families, you going to the military. You used to get in so much trouble with the law that the judge used to say, listen, you can either go to jail or go to the military. They don't do that no more, I don't think. But that used to be a thing over here. Oh, hello?
Hello?
Yeah, okay. I know a lot of stories of people saying, man, listen, it changed my life. Not telling nobody to go to the military, right? That's not what I'm saying. To go to the military. I'm saying you're going to have to push your people to go further than doing the bare minimum. Back in the day, high school used to be like, it was kind of like it. You was able to get a high school diploma, you could do anything. That's not the case.
Nope. And the military does provide structure for some people, so it is good for certain people.
No, again, and when I say military, I'm not even talking about like, because the reason why I don't think it's that bad or big of a deal is there's things. Okay, cool. You don't got the money you don't feel like you can get these trades. You go to the military and get those same trades. I know doctors that came out the military who wasn't the fucking doctor before they went into the military.
Yep.
I was in training with people that was in training to be a biomechanical engineer. I didn't know what the fuck that was. But what it is
I still don't.
Prosthetics and pacemakers, like shit like that. That's what they do. He didn't have no college education before that. He's straight from high school, but he tested at a level that said he might be, you know what I mean? So he qualified for that MOS. Guess what? After basic training, he has to go to school for the next, I want to say it was 9 months. And they're going to teach him that. You know what he can do after they teach him that? And he get out of the military, whether he has a 4-year active contract or a 6 to 8 year, supposed to be 8 year, but really kind of like 6 year reserve contract. He can go to college and he can test out and get a fucking degree in fucking being a doctor. Because he already knows it. They trained him. The military trained you, and not only that, if he wanted to go back to school, they're going to pay fully for your school. When you get married, as long as you got an honorable discharge, guess what? They'll pay for your wife's schooling too, because you did very well. As you go up and you have a kid, guess what? Your kid can now go to college on you. You don't have to pay it. You also get a VA loan with all the minimum interest and whatnot if that's what you want. If you're trying to buy a house, you get ridiculous health insurance. You get ridiculous life insurance for the extreme cheap. So there's things. We all got options. When I feel like my options was running low, and when I was doing security, I went to the military. When I was lost and I had a kid on the way, I went to the military. There, I got myself together. I got focused. I never planned on being in the military for my life. I went for the benefit, and then used the hell out of them since I've been home.
Yeah, I was in the Air
That's why
Force.
that would be on the table. Go ahead.
I was in the Air Force. It definitely helped her.
So that's why that would be on the table, right? Because of what you can get from it. He don't have the option to do nothing else. We need to start doing that again. What you want your kids to do? Hey, I don't care what the fuck you go to school for, but you're going to school. Why? Because unless you're a millionaire already, son, you ain't gonna make it most likely. It's gonna be hard for you just coming out with straight a high school diploma and getting into the workforce. It's just how it is. You need more than that. In high school and in college, I don't even plan on him getting a degree. What I plan on him doing in college, right? I wouldn't tell him that. What I plan on him doing is finding himself, finding out what he really wants to do, and then doing that. If he says, dang, in the 3 years I've been here, I don't even want to do that. This is a lot of people issue who go to college and they keep on switching their major. I know people who've been in college for 8 years and still don't got one degree.
Yep.
Because they keep switching their major because they don't know what they want to do. Now that's a bad good thing. They still finding themselves, but they're gonna be paying like crazy. You said what thing?
And they like they still like the comfort of being a student. Like I know a lot of people who are still in school, who stay in school because they're just not ready to take that leap into the workforce.
Facts. So if in that 3 years he says, hey, what I want to do, I don't even need a college degree. All right, well, come on back to the crib. Just trying to put this plan to action. At least find what he wants to do. You know what I mean? Whether it's in the military, you spending time there, or you go to college. But just coming straight out of high school and getting into the workforce, to me, that's not on the table for mine. You know what I mean? And we as parents gotta try to find something to let them know. You know what I mean? We gotta have these talks with them, like, hey, no matter what you seen me do, it ain't all peaches and cream out here. Whether, you know what I mean, I made it seem good or not. I just did what my parents taught me to do. I seen my mom, me personally, I seen my mom's work ethic. That's what fused me to do what I'd had to do.
Yep.
My son should see the same thing, and if he has any questions or any doubt, or he gets lost on his way, it's my job to correct that. I'm not gonna let him fail. If he fails, then I fail. That falls on me as his parent. All right, you go to the next.
The one thing about a union, and my brother's in a union, is a con is, say you and this other person are both going for the same position, but the other person has been in the union longer than you, and even though you have a better qualification for the job, they're going to get the job first because they've put their time in the union longer than you. That's the only thing that I think is kind of messed up about unions, because that happened to my brother a few times. And he finally got the position where he was trying to get to, but like it took him longer to get there, even though he was qualified, just as qualified or even more than the other people that were applying, just because they were there longer. You know, it's kind of messed up.
Well, yeah,
I didn't know that.
For the most part, it's seniority based, right? I have 10 years in to the company, and you have 2. They really not gonna dictate by your experience of the next job that we both going for. What they're looking for is I have more. It's like I'll rank you, military style. I'll rank you. That's why I get the position. Not saying that that's cool either, but that's how it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Teach us how to hustle so we can make that money.
Shout out Nut Taps. I don't know why that's your name. Actually, I don't even feel comfortable saying it, but I said it before I thought about it. You know what I mean? Shout out to you.
You said back in somebody's day. But nah, like like where I was from, I was born and raised in Northern California in the East Bay. And not when I was in high school, because right when I got out of high school, they built basically a trade school for high school students. And it was literally science, medical, and electrical or something. It was based just for those kind of students, and it was like a sister school. Like, there was no sports teams. They did their sports teams at the different other schools, but like they literally was a trade school for high schools. And I feel like they should have more of those. Like, that was legit.
I agree.
You ain't saying nothing wrong yet. Yeah, I'm waiting for you to say something wrong, so think and hop on you.
Yeah, the way I see it, if a company wants to offer me minimum wage, I offer minimum effort, straight up.
Well, you're gonna be in that minimum wage job for a while, sir.
Hey, that's your choice, man. It's America. You got the freedom to do that. You ain't gonna move up at all, but shit, it's on you, young man.
Yep, that's my sister-in-law. She was in like pre-med and going into medical school, and she went into the Air Force to pay for her med school. Now she's graduated. She's a full-on doctor, working off of a military base in California. But she and my brother live in California. They own their own house. Like, they're doing good.
The military does take care of their people.
Is she at Fort Irwin? I think that's more. That's northern. Dang, what's the one that's what you call it? Oh, that motherfucker was cracking. Damn, I forget the other one. Only been there once to that one once, but yeah. So we're
what's
not gonna
the
keep you up
military
too much
base
longer.
called in Alaska? That's where my aunt is.
Ooh, that's I'm not gonna be able to think of that one. I haven't been there. I've heard of it more than a few times, but it never stick unless I've been there to see it. I can picture it. That name always pops up. Probably been the Irwin still, whatever that horrible one is at Southern California, Fort Leonard Wood, Jackson Bennett. Man, I've been to a few. I haven't been to Alaska yet. It's one that's in Alaska, and the one that's in Hawaii is real nice. I haven't been to that one. It's hard to remember the names. There's so many. It's actually way more than what I thought. It's almost like one in every state, whether you know it or not. You know what I mean?
When I think of military bases, I really only think of Texas, Fort Worth.
They got they got Fort Sam Houston down there too. That's where all the everybody that goes into the medical field, they go there. Fort Sam.
Got it.
Fort Sam Houston. So it's two in Texas. Oh, who's this?
The military take care of the people. Aren't there like a record number of like homeless veterans right now?
So I knew he was going to say that, but when I say they take care of their people, that's so my old roommate, he did 2 tours in Afghanistan, and he is currently out now, but because of the post-traumatic stress, he's on disability. So he gets a paycheck and they pay his rent, and he has his own personal lawyer. So, I mean, even though there are a lot of homeless veterans, a lot of that is because of mental illness and drug use. And the military can only do so much to intervene. They can do their best. But for the most part, from my knowledge, they take care of their people.
All right. Off that, as stated earlier with America as a whole. And again, I say it America not because it's the American problem, just because I don't really know the Europe system, Asia system. You know what I mean? So I don't want to say it's the worst. So I say America is because that's what I know, right? Going to like the America thing that I said earlier. Same thing with the military. They're not going to hold your hand. When you get out of the military, you know your benefits, you know your rights. You get a separation packet that says if you need this, if you need that, if something comes up, you make this call. You call military 1 or you get in touch with VA.com. Like, you make sure you go to the VA sometime after this, right? And get set up with the VA. And then you go on VA.gov. You make sure you get your ID, your veterans ID, and this, that, and other, so on, so on, so like. A lot of us don't do that though. A lot of us, I didn't do that for I don't know how long. A lot of us.
Why do you think that?
Right? It's almost like out of sight, out of mind. You know what I mean? Like some people probably get out the military and just be happy that they're out because of whatever. You know what I mean? So they probably don't even think about it. A lot of people don't even use their VA. Like, they're homeless, right? And that's if you separate it in an honorable way. It might be anything other than honorable, but I want to say honorable, which means you didn't get kicked out or forced out or whatever the case is. You got an honorable discharge. Then for a fact, your benefits is still intact, which means there's almost no reason for you to be homeless. You could have, as long as your credit score was like 580 or some shit, you could use your VA loan. Now, depending on the bank might say, hey, we need it to be a 650 or whatever the case. But if that's the case, shit, go get you a debit card or a secure credit card, get your shit to 650 and make sure you have income and you can use your VA loan. Or, hey, whether you homeless or not, or whatever the situation is still for, you can still go to school without paying anything, and they're going to pay for school, and you have a little bit of money coming back from the GI Bill every month. They're supposed to cost for your books or whatever, but really your tuition is everything is normally covered. So people always get a little bit of money back, like extra every month. Now, I say you can pay your bills on that, but guess what? You can still be going to school, homeless or not. You can still be going to school. So a lot of us just don't utilize that. Now, I'm not saying that's necessarily on us. I think there should be something different, some type of like transfer situation or program set up that eases you into coming back. A lot of people only know military, and you throwing them back in their mind frame, throwing them back into America where it's just almost completely free to do whatever. There's a price to pay for freedom. America don't hold your hand when it comes to freedom. If it wasn't free and you had limited, everybody would keep you in check. Hey man, you can't do that. Hey man, you got to go here. You can't do that. You can't touch that. You got to go here, because they're trying to keep you in line. That freedom, right? It's like an adventure game. Because you have that freedom, you don't know where to go. It's like the sky's the limit. I can go here, I can go there, I can go whatever the case. And when you threw somebody who had limiters on him for 10, 15, 20 years, and now he got mental issues. Yeah, and you threw him back into this world of freedom, and he didn't know where to go. He didn't know how to operate without someone telling him to, or just knowing the rules. So you just grew up in a military lifestyle. It's different. You know what you're gonna eat every morning. You know where you're gonna go every morning. You know what you're gonna wear, because you don't wear shit but the uniform.
Yeah, you don't gotta think
everything
about
is a set schedule. You don't have to think about nothing. You know what I mean? It's routine every day. And when you only know that for years and years and years, it's hard for some people who have mental issues to accommodate freedom back into their daily life, and they don't know how to get out of that. This is why some people it's almost like the people with jail, and you've been in jail so long that when you get out, you do something, go very back to jail because you're more comfortable in jail.
Yep. That's a real thing too. I don't think a lot of people know that, but a lot of people who end up in jail for a long time, they get so comfortable that like the outside world is like too much for them. They need to go back to jail in that comfort. Like Stockholm Syndrome is crazy. Yeah, they need the limiters put back on them because it's too much. That's for them, you know what I mean? But something has triggered in their mind. It's you know what I mean? It's something wrong. It's not natural. It's normally something wrong, but we overlook a whole lot of things and really can't diagnose things if people are not trying to help us help them. So they can't, the military, the VA, whoever, they can't go and kidnap the military dudes off the street and go make them, you know what I mean, take medications or make them do their VA loans, and make you can't. I can't do that. They have to be willing to come here to talk to us for us to do whatever we have to do. And again, I'm not blaming the people for being in a position. I think they should be in a way better position for what they gave up. Of course. But it's almost like we need you to help us help you. And I'm a military vet, so I get it. You know what I mean? My dad's not in the best of mental space. Who we got?
She goes to the she works at the Travis Air Base.
Oh, you did say Air Force, didn't you? I'm thinking the Army. Okay. Shout out them. You know what I mean? Military.
Yeah, guys. I mean, I completely agree. We need a $15 minimum wage. As a butt sex worker, not making $15 an hour is really disappointing.
Oh my God. Pay these
Did I hear
things.
that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a butt sex employee, and
So we got some trolls on here.
he clearly don't get paid enough for his services. So
Sounds like a
shout out.
Oh, and also, LA Styles, you ain't shit for saying I'm waiting for you to say something wrong. Like, can't I just be saying the right things?
Shout out Miss Peasy. No, I was just playing. You know that I was just playing when I said that. Think ain't gonna, you know what I mean? He cool. Oh wait, oh shit, we just over 2 hours. All right. Whatever y'all got to say, if y'all watching, go ahead and send those in so we can play those and we can get up out of here. Ooh, this is.
Yeah, but I mean, even after, like, no one really commented that really kind of changed my mind or made me think, or not changed my mind, but really made me say, oh, yeah, you know, minimum wage should definitely be, like, raised. I'm still kind of in the same position. I'm just like, I don't really think about it. And if it stays the same, then I'm okay with it.
I think you probably changed a few people's minds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, it's something that it looks good on paper and it sounds good just saying. But, you know what I mean? Listen, should people wages go up, period? Yes, I believe that. Because I want mine to go up. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But we talk about being realistic here, people. We talk about being realistic. I'm not talking about anything other than that. You know what I mean? There's going to be a price. Any job, anybody that's been in politics or we've seen anybody in politics, everything that we've gotten as a country, we had to give up something in return. That's just going to be the nature of how it is. There's always somebody on the opposite end. There's people on the opposite end that's higher up saying, nah, they shouldn't get that. And there's people on the lower end that says, hey, you up there with all the money, we believe y'all should pay more tax. The people up top that's in the 1% saying, no, y'all should pay more tax. There's going to always be somebody on the opposite end. Doesn't change the fact that because we always have two sides, to get something, when something's set in stone, it's set in stone. To change that, you have to give me something. If you want me to give you something, you want me to give you more money, then I need you to give me something, right? They talked about how Taco Bell raised, we talked about the other day between me and my guy, how Taco Bell, well, I think it was me, Vice Reese, shout out Vice Reese, and I think it was Black Knight 24. How Taco Bell, Reese had brought it up, Taco Bell raised their wages, right? But in return, they got rid of cashiers. Black Knight is mad that they got rid of cashiers and they just didn't give. I'm like, bro, you got to give up something though. This is what I'm saying.
It's a give and take.
When they gave you something, they didn't tell you what you had to give up in return. You know what I mean? You wanted more money. Okay, cool. In exchange for that, we need to cut these few positions. What's the problem? I don't want to see nobody lose their job, but be careful what you ask for. You know what I mean? When you ask for it, you got to have something already set in your head that you're willing to give up in exchange for that. You asking people that don't normally help people to a degree to help you. Normally, help comes at a cost.
That's true.
That's how America normally works. You asking businesses to give up money in exchange for what? You're like, nah, I ain't got nothing. I just want you to give up more money. As a business person, that's not gonna click to them. Like, nah, I don't understand what you're talking about. Like, are y'all gonna, after so many hours, y'all gonna just start working for free, or like, y'all giving up y'all insurance, y'all health insurance? Like, what are y'all giving up?
Yeah.
That's how politics work. That's how bills work. Okay, you want us to lower taxes? What do we get in return, Mr. President? You got to give up something. Okay, well, no, we ain't voting on that then. You got to give up something. You just can't get nothing for nothing. I'm talking about whether we think they super rich, ridiculously rich, or not. Don't change the fact that from a business standpoint, they're going to look at you like you stupid. I'm not just finna double everybody's pay at all my. You were thinking of one McDonald's. What if I'm a franchise owner? What if I own 5 McDonald's, 2 Burger Kings, a Taco Bell, a couple Dairy Queens, whatever the case is? You want me to raise all my pay across the board? You know how much I pay? Not saying I break the bank, but do you know how much I pay across the board when it comes to my total personnel? And you want me to double
a lot
that?
of people don't realize that business owners, they have to pay they have to pay rent, they have to pay money for their spaces. So that's like
they have to pay rent. They still got to pay property taxes. They still got to pay light. They gotta cover the insurance. If something happens to you, they own insurance in case something happens to you, or happens to the facility, or happens on the property. They gotta pay. It pays off in the long run, right? Because they became super rich, but they wasn't always super rich, bro. You know what I mean? And they're still trying to finance. You're still trying to finance, right? Your businesses. What if 4 of my business is not doing good? Right? You know what offsets that? My other 5 businesses that's doing good. All my money is not just me for keeping. I have to use that to keep the lights on at that building, to pay the lights at that building, because that building not bringing in enough money to sustain itself. But I don't want that business to go out of business. If I was an asshole, I'd just let it go out of business and then cut those 30 jobs. But then y'all look at me like I'm an asshole.
Yep. And a lot of I don't think people realize how much pressure are on like business owners' shoulders. Like during COVID, a lot of people lost their jobs, and that is terrible, but they can kind of go out and just find another job. A lot of people lost their businesses, and you can't just go out and just start up another business, or it's hard to get a business back up on your feet. So I really feel for business owners.
No, when you don't have the capital and you're not even like a worker like that no more. You know what I mean? Like there was business owners, especially like private owned businesses, that went out of business, and then that owner, who's been an owner for who knows how long, had to go get a 9-to-5 job. That hurts him. Why? Because now he's in a point where he's over his head, because his lifestyle is something different. He was knocked down. It's almost like if you get used to making $40 an hour, and you make $40 an hour for 10 years, and you got this nice ass house, and y'all can afford to lease these cars, and the kids in college, and it's paid for, or it's going to be paid for, because I know I make enough money. What if I lose that job? Now, all of a sudden, I can't get no other job other than this $15 an hour job. You might say, man, that's more than what I make. But you're not thinking about the long run. I can't afford to live. I'm going to have to give up my house. I got to give up my cars. I don't know if I can get my kids through school. I lost a lot.
Yeah,
well, I'm going to lose a lot. Who in here?
Oh, also, I don't know if it went through, but, see my dog, she's snoring. Okay, I hear you. What's it called? My sister-in-law, she works at the Travis Air Base in Northern California.
Yeah, well, we got you, Miss Peasy. You know what I mean? Air Force? Well, I'm Army, but, you know what I mean? We kind of look down on Air Force a little bit, because y'all tests be kind of easy. Y'all physical tests be a little bit easier than ours. But y'all technical aspect is a lot higher than ours.
You're looking at the problem backwards. It's not about raising the minimum wage. It's about the wealth distribution among the 1%. The gap is widening. There's 7-8 people that probably have more money than 30% of the entire population of the United States. And for all those stats people out there, I'm pulling that from out of left field, but it's probably not that wrong. The money is constantly moving up the chain and up the ladder, so to speak, to the wealthiest. That's the problem. If you raise the minimum wage rates, all you do is raise the price of everyday goods that most of us need. And I'm not saying that everyone should be entitled to a living wage, but we're looking at this from the wrong angle. We're looking at it from the bottom up when we need to look at it from the top down. That's where the money needs to start going.
Yeah. But a lot of times when I hear wealth distribution, or there's a certain amount of rich people in the world, and I kind of feel like we're telling them what to do with their money. Like, we're telling them what to do with the money that they worked hard to gain or that they earned themselves. And we're kind of angry that they've acquired that wealth and we haven't, even though they might be doing something vastly different than us or have vastly different skills than us. I mean, that's just kind of how the world works. You can't really tell people what to do with their money.
Going over what you said, Think. In Katie's play thing, you probably wasn't in here, but we kind of spoke on that just a little bit when I said, yeah, like if I think both me and think that if you raise minimum wage, the cost of everything is going to go up. That minimum wage anchor is an anchor because it puts a cap on certain expenses in the cost of living. Once you raise that, then you raise that cap, so you kind of just balance it back out anyway.
Yep.
You might be making more, but you also gonna be paying more. So it's like, man, how I still don't got nothing but $200 I check. Well, because everything went up. Like, what you thought was gonna happen? But so yeah, we kind of spoke on that a little bit going into what you said. Think, yeah, like Jeff Bezos, he was selling shit out of his garage back in the day until he discovered or got Amazon together, took Amazon off the road, and now he's like the richest man in the world. And you think you can turn around and tell him how to run his business or what to do with the money that he got? It's like, I'm gonna look at you like, you got me fucked up. You know how hard it was. I wasn't working. I was unemployed. Didn't nobody help me. I was doing a rummage sale. I took rummage sale to a business.
And it didn't happen overnight. He spent 20, 30 years building Amazon.
Yeah. And now all of a sudden you kind of trying to come at me sideways.
Yep.
Let's get these other 5 up out of here. Me and Think about to get up out of here. I'm gonna definitely have to hit you up for another show thing though, man. I be cracking all these people be on me about doing shows. I'm actually supposed to do one at 8 today. Actually, damn, I don't know if I'm gonna do that one about how long sex is supposed to last. You know what I mean? You might have to be on.
Yeah, I might just be listening.
How long sex is supposed to last? I'm in a show. I'm in the work.
Cashiers are gonna go anyway. We are living in the technology age. Even where I live, all the frigging cashiers are going. So it's not a valid excuse.
Hold on, I missed it. What did he say? Not a valid excuse, or is a valid excuse?
Yeah, he said having cashiers being taken out isn't a valid excuse to balance to balance the pay, but not every business is in the same circumstance. So Wegmans can probably afford to get like advanced machines instead of cashiers, but your random store has to take those cashiers out just to balance it out. So I mean, that's just.
And also, let's not because I think when we think of business, we normally think of big business, right?
Yeah.
When we think of McDonald's, we thinking about, oh man, McDonald's is like a $1 trillion company. But guess what? McDonald's don't have one owner. McDonald's is a franchise. So when you see that one McDonald's who might have took out their cashiers, that could be one guy who managed to get a franchise, and that's all he has. That's the only business he has is that one franchise. No, he might not be able to afford to double the pay of all his employees without going broke. You know what I mean? And then if he did that and then went broke, had to fire somebody or fire y'all, then y'all be looking at him like, man, you a horrible business owner. You know what I mean? It's not, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's not, you know what I mean? And then again, you can't dictate somebody else's business. If you want this, right? I could have not listened to you at all. He didn't have to raise prices. That Taco Bell didn't have to raise the cost at all. He could have just said, man, fuck y'all, I'm doing what I'm doing. And guess what? He still went there and bought fucking tacos. No matter if he did it or not. Right? He did it for you. And instead of you being happy that somebody listened to you and raised minimum wage in their facility, you're more mad that 2 people had to be fired. 2 people was fired, so these other 12 people can keep their jobs and get paid more. Not saying it's cool or not cool, but it's business, people. We talking business.
It's not personal.
It's not personal. We talking about making money. Making money. If you own a business, you're about making money. It's not going to be easy to talk you into losing some of your money. And I damn sure I ain't going to try to hear, or you ain't going to try to hear somebody trying to tell you what to do with your money who's on a lower financial situation than you. Someone broke can't tell Jay Bezos what to do and how to run his business. I'm sorry. He ain't trying to hear nothing you got to say. No, it's no disrespect.
If you can't afford to pay people decently, then you shouldn't be in business.
I mean, I think we're going in circles, but I mean,
yeah, SJ all the way. You tripping, man?
Yeah, I think
you want everybody who has a job to be able to live a great life.
Yeah.
Right? That's what you want, like 15-year-olds to be able to have their own house and drive Teslas and the whole 9 too. There's jobs that's meant for kids in America. There's jobs that's meant for teenagers. There's jobs that's meant. This is what we mean by entry level. There's jobs that's meant. Entry level normally means you don't have to have almost no credentials, very little to no credentials to get this position. This is a starter position for you to be able to move up.
A stepping stone.
You can, yes, to be able to move up. Right? There's people who's getting into stepping stone positions and staying there for 15 years. And then getting mad when the pay don't go up. No, the pay not supposed to go up. You're supposed to move up so somebody else can get that spot.
Yep.
That's how that's supposed to work. The job that's paying these little wages, not saying it's cool or not, that's not the debate. It's the debate of who has these positions. You're supposed to move up. Once you get that experience, you get this job, now you got a year in, you show and prove, and then you move up to something that pays 50 cents or $1 more. Then you move up to something that maybe pays $2 more. Maybe then you go up to like a team lead. Then you trying to be like a leader. Then you trying to be like an assistant supervisor, to manager, to CEO. This is how this works.
Yep.
You got to move up. It's not every position can't afford to pay everybody $20 an hour across the board. Every position shouldn't need to pay $20 across the board. I shouldn't have to pay this dude who only sells $5 tea. They come in a retail store. His only job is to sell baseball caps and socks. I should have to pay him $20 an hour to sell baseball caps and socks, just because it's a job position.
Or the guy who wears the chicken costume outside of Chick-fil-A. Like, I'm not paying him $28 an hour.
Yeah, he's just twirling the sign. He's great at his job. I've seen a couple of them. You know what I mean? They got this doing all the tricks and whatnot. But $20 an hour, or the dude that stands outside of the tax places, they got the signs too. Come here, there's $20 an hour. The dude, when you go to like a mall and you at the food court, and he's standing there with the samplers for people to come around and get him $20 an hour too. No, ain't what we doing. Nah, we're not doing that. Everybody don't need the job. Don't need. There's no standard when it comes to pay. There's no standard pay when it comes to pay. And if those position goes to $20-some an hour, then what I'm doing gotta be at like 40, 50, 60, 70 some dollars an hour.
Yep.
There's no way. If you double theirs, you gotta double mine. If you double mine, I'm cleared in the $50 an hour. And that's not including overtime, double time, and penalty pay that I'm gonna be hitting my job for. They ain't gonna let that happen. All right, let's get these last four. These other four.
Honestly, I believe if you can't afford to pay people decently, then you shouldn't be in business. That's just my honest belief. Like, either pay people decently or don't employ people.
Yeah, I think we answered this.
Yeah. We kind of extended on it, but look, again, they're not paying people. They're paying what the position is worth. That position is worth X amount of dollars to them. If you assign to that position because you fill out the application and want it, then you're choosing to get paid that money. That's on you. That's not on the job. The job told you before you took that position that that's what they're willing to pay. That position. You know what I mean? You just like a go-between.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because I used to work for McDonald's and it was a franchise. So like my McDonald's I worked at had to pay McDonald's to use their logo and like use their food and their name. Like, I didn't get paid by McDonald's. I got paid by the franchise owner. Like, that's, yeah.
Yep. Facts. That's the kickback. The people who own the franchise of McDonald's, right? You got to have a certain level of financial history. You got to be able to clear a certain amount a year, and you got to have X amount of dollars in your bank, right? To get. I think it's like, and then you got to pay. I think it's $250,000. Well, when I was in high school and I went to franchise, that franchise class, it was like $250,000 to get a license to own your own McDonald's franchise. $250,000. This is like
That's probably a little more now.
20 years ago. It's like 20, 21 years ago. Right? Because I'm 37 now. So it's way more than that now. Way more than that. So, but there's a kickback. That's not a forever thing once I'm paid whatever fee I need to pay. Whatever I make, I have to cut McDonald's, the big McDonald's, off a percentage of everything I make. I don't get, the franchise owner don't get all the money that McDonald's bring in for whatever franchises that he has. McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell, Dairy Queen, these are all franchises. Culver's, all franchises. Well, y'all might have some different things where y'all at, but these are franchises. You know what I mean? Yep. They make their money by not running the business, by sitting back and letting other people copy the license and run the business. And now the head of McDonald's can just sit back with no worries. They just got to make sure that y'all keeping up to a certain standard. You know what I mean? But with that, because I know for a fact you're going to get X amount of business due to this being a McDonald's license, and you know what I mean? Like McDonald's going to bring people, Burger King going to bring people. We already got our people, right? It's set that you're going to get X amount of money. Set. Once you get this license you build it, they will come. But you got to kick me off this percentage off top. I ain't going to come in there. I'm not going to hassle you. I'm not going to do nothing. We don't do nothing for you. We give you the name of the contractors and the distribution for whatever the supplier for our resources, for your sources that you need. For food, lettuce, burgers, buns, whatever the fuck you need. This is who we use. Off that kickback, whatever you get, we need, I'm pretty sure it's probably more than 50%, but it's going to be at least 50% because it's McDonald's. Like, we already set in stone. You know what I mean? He could have to kick back 60, 70% to McDonald's. Y'all don't know. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. But you telling him, the dude, you ain't telling McDonald's, you telling the dude he should double the pay of his workers. Because McDonald's not going to compensate for what you do as the owner.
Yeah. I don't think a lot of people know how franchises work. I didn't know how franchises worked for a while either. I didn't know they were kind of independently ran.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no, like, McDonald's just in the backing of running all the McDonald's. You know what I mean? There's people that own McDonald's, the license to make a McDonald's or run a McDonald's or whatever the other franchise is. We just use McDonald's for sake. But yeah, so when you telling somebody to double that, you telling them like they got to come out of their own pocket. McDonald's not gonna lose. They're not gonna say, "Oh, because you did that, we're gonna take less of a percent." Nah, I still need my 70%. Yeah, what the fuck you talking about? Whatever you want to pay your workers, what you want to pay your workers. We gave you the blueprint that says this job should have been paid that. Outside of that, that's out of your pocket, not mine. You know what I mean? That's just how it is.
They didn't work hard to gain that. It is all the same people, decade after decade, generation after generation. Once money goes to those rich people, it doesn't help anybody. It goes into a void. It no longer even exists. It disappears from the economy.
Yeah, so that's called a family business, and their family is keeping that, business afloat. So of course that money is going to stay within them. Like, I get what he's trying to say, but I'm also looking at it from their side. Like, they spend generations trying to get that wealth.
Yes, if I get into a position that I don't care what anybody else is talking about, when then nobody helped me, or helped my mom, or helped my granddad when he was struggling, then nobody helped him. Now that somebody in my generation made enough money, so they passed it on to the next generation, he took off with it, passed on to the next generation, and now he got it set up to where when I take off, now we billionaires. We went from just 100,000, because we was poor for so fucking long before that, to 100,000. Then nobody still helped us to give a fuck about what we was doing, to a millionaires, and then nobody care to give a fuck about what we was doing, to a billionaire. And now all of a sudden now we're a billionaire. Hey man, we need you to chip in on. Man, y'all don't need me to chip in on shit. Fuck you talking to? That's how I'm thinking about it.
Yep.
You know what I
And
mean?
he might
Like, nah, you can't come dictate some shit over here.
Yeah, and he might be talking about like different corporations too, like that might not be so family generated, like banks and stuff like that. But I mean, even still, it's kind of like, we just can't claim money that's not ours. That's just not how the world works.
Actually, yes, you can dictate to businesses. That's why they pay corporation tax. That's why, that's why normally They're not allowed to pollute rivers with like waste from factories and stuff like that. So yeah, you can dictate to businesses. Look, we're not trying to get Jeff Bezos on his knees. Like, just have good operations, pay staff properly, don't time them when they go to the toilet. Yes, that does happen in Amazon warehouses. So yeah, man, like, they got issues.
I agree. I think that everybody should be treated with respect, and people shouldn't live under harsh work conditions. I mean, that's why there are labor laws and things, but I'm talking about specifically about money and what the owner of the company chooses to pay each employee. They have to think about their interests first, so the business doesn't fall under, so you can keep a job.
Right. So yeah, there's laws for all business, but you can't dictate how that rich person. So that's Jeff Bezos. The rich person spends his money once he has it. That's what I'm saying. You can't do that. We might not like it down here, but guess what? We could have been Jeff Bezos. How many people you done seen do a rummage sale before? You know what I mean? Like, it used to be a big thing back in the 90s. They used to have like rummage sales parties, kind of like they'll pick a day and everybody on that block do like a rummage sale where you can just walk down the street and, you know what I mean, and just buy whatever.
Is that the same as a yard sale?
Yeah, same thing.
Okay.
Same thing. People, they use rummage because rummage is like you kind of rummaging through their thing. Yeah. It's the exact same thing, right? So you can't get mad at him to a degree because he took it to the next level in his lifetime and went from a garage sale to fucking the richest man in the world. You should be applauding that dude.
Yeah. I would never hate on
the dude went from like broke, to being the richest dude in the world in his own lifetime.
Yep.
That's crazy. And then instead of being like, man, let him be like my motivation or determination for me to do something like that. Instead, we're like, man, you should pay more tax. What was it? Last year they was trying to say, hey man, if the rich people paid a little bit more or did something extra, we'll be all right. You know what I mean? Only thing it'll take is like Jeff Bezos. He got so much money. I think in California, if he gave up $38 million, he can get rid of homeless in California. That became like a trending thing. I don't know if y'all knew that became like a trending thing. I'm standing out because I'm always outside the box. Like, why the fuck would that be his responsibility?
Yep.
Why are we taking that shit that America should be responsible for, if that's the case, and putting it on an individual? The government prints its own fucking money if it wanted to. They can take care of their own property. They can work with the state to build these buildings and people can live there for fucking free if they wanted to. Why Jeff Bezos got to go spend $38 million to get rid of the homeless in California?
Yep. Our pressure should be more on the government, not these independent business owners.
Like, that's crazy. You know what I mean? But hey, that's neither here nor there. That's a topic for Think to do one day. I'll leave that on Think.
Yep.
But yeah, just in the same thing, man. Y'all gotta pause and think, bro.
Yeah. So wait, I followed you on here, and then I followed you on IG too. So if you ever want to go live on like a topic or something, let me.
Hello? Okay, yeah, I got you. I just seen it.
All right.
I'm gonna go follow you on there. All right, y'all. We out. Shout out to Pause and Think. Make sure y'all follow him. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Later.
All right. Peace out.